Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El-Guindy with the Mr. Olympia. Today, we're going to have Derek Lunsford. He said he's just finishing up his squats. He doesn't want his legs to look like garbage. So he said, Tarek, I'm doing some additional legs, and I'm going to go and annihilate the stage. Linda Murray, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, Tarek. Doing great.
And Bob Ciccarello, how are you?
I am doing very well, my friend. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders for some reason. It could be one of two things. I golfed this morning, bro. Beautiful day here in Savannah, Georgia. Shot an 83, which is presentable, you know, for somebody of my size and coordination. And the Yankees won the home opener, brother. So I'm thinking it's probably one of those two things.
That's right.
The opener was today, right?
Season opener. I know what a big baseball fan you are, Tarek. So, yes. How about that?
My following of baseball is garbage. I need to get better.
Bro, as of right now, the Yankees are undefeated.
Wow. Yeah.
I
love the off season. I love when we get to play some golf and watch some baseball. And I was watching the combine, some of the clips from it. Like missing my football.
So, that's all right. You can catch up on football. They actually got the other league starting up. But, you know, it takes such a big dive. Listen, there's not you don't have the pedigree, right? You don't have the 60 years of the NFL and all the teams that you know and the players. So you see like a USFL or whatever. They combine forces now. So now it's like the UFL or something. I don't know. But,
yes, right.
Whatever that is. But you know what? I tried watching a game or two last year, and I got to be honest, I lasted like 10 minutes, and I had no interest in who won or who was scoring or anything. When football's done, it's done. It's not. We're on the baseball, or we're finishing up basketball. You got March Madness. So I'm good for football till next year.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna check it out. Hopefully they have some names, some big names or something. But yeah, I love football. So I was a USFL cheerleader back in 1983.
I don't think I knew that. For who?
Yep. I was part of the first USFL Michigan Panthers. I was a Michigan Panthers cheerleader in 1983 and 1984. So
look at you.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Derek? You're busy at work.
I'm just trying to connect here with Derek Lunsford. I'm going to see if I can send him the link through the email.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation because I hear he's going to compete in Pittsburgh.
Well, listen, this is big news because you got a guy, a former Mr. Olympia, #1. You got a guy who's fresh off a win at the Arnold. But, we'll get more into this when we get Derek on. But
sure.
I got to be honest, I'm not surprised in the least. Like, I thought this was a great move, good strategy. Whoever is running his camp, and I know Derek's his own man, but you always got people around you. Listen, go put $100,000 in your pocket, right? Go be a part of history as the first ever. And I got to be honest, to me, I'd be going to New York as well. I mean, it's 5 days later, 6 days later.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You're right about that. Cause many times we had this conversation, Bob, like we're old school and back in the day when you were Mr. Olympia or Ms. Olympia, you just sat back and kind of chilled. I mean, sometimes I don't know how many Mr. Olympias competed in the Arnold,
Well, yeah, not too many. I mean, you've got Ronnie, obviously, who went in. You've got Jay, but that was before he won the Olympia. So you've got a few, and because it's hard, every guy has said the same thing. None of them would take it back, but none of them would have done it again because it took such a toll on their bodies.
Yeah.
Getting back to the Olympia and putting on a physique worthy of, either defending the title listen, Samson's in the same boat. He was in the Arnold. He didn't win. He lost against Derek. No shame in that, but he finally gets a little bit of a rest. But the question's going to be, of course, does it take a toll? Does he have enough time to get off the gas, relax a little bit, let the body recoup, and then get back in the groove for the Olympia in October?
Yeah. So Samson's not planning on competing. Is he planning on competing in Pittsburgh?
No. I think
I would think not.
No, and wisely, it's, and Samson, I think I have a different mentality. I didn't like Samson going in the Arnold to begin with for the very
I agree.
idea that the guy, you won Mr. Olympia, go be Mr. Olympia, go make your appearances and wave your hand and get your training. But
I
more
agree.
than that, he hasn't had a break literally since he was chasing a pro card years ago and then got himself to the
I
top of
think
the
you
heap.
froze there.
So even though I know it's 500,000, it's the Arnold title and all
Right.
that, I was not a big fan of him going in. I thought Derek going in made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But honestly, Linda, you know who the smartest guy might be in all of this?
Who?
Hadi Chupan. Because Hadi Chupan has done nothing since the Olympia. He's rested.
Yes.
He's got he's got a chance to live life a little bit and kind of do all the things you need for mentally, physically. If any injuries were there, he's got an opportunity to heal and be 100%. The smartest guy in the bunch might just be Hadi Chupan heading into the Olympia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. Yeah, because I was looking at the numbers, doing the the math on the weeks, the number of weeks, looking at Derek competing at the in October of 2024. I mean, if you look at a year span of time from October to the first week in March, now you're going to go and compete. And so how many weeks between Arnold and Pittsburgh? But the one thing I can say, what I see in Derek, is his ability to focus and not be distracted by a lot of what's going on, on the outside.
Yeah.
You know Samson Dowda more, but Derek's consistency, he's just been consistent, right? As far as his conditioning, he's been consistent, so.
Well, Derek is I think, listen, you go with one of two ways, right? You either got to kind of run the gambit and listen, he's a young, healthy guy. Doesn't seem to have any issues or injuries, at least none that he's made note of. So you go one of two paths. Okay. He came off the Olympia with a third place finish. Wasn't his best, but still in the top three. Basically had to stay on and get ready for the Arnold. So there was no rest there. Won the Arnold, put 500 grand in his pocket, right? And a title.
Correct.
And now, again, not enough time to get off of anything or do anything like it in terms of recoverability. So now he's just going to ride it until Pittsburgh. And I say, you might as well, if you're going to do that, you might as well go a week later to New York. He's in a no-lose situation. All he can do is make money. And if he thinks he's got enough time to recoup, he's got, June, July, a little bit of August, obviously, then you're pretty much, going to push the pedal to the metal for the Olympia. I think he's young enough and healthy enough to do it. I would not recommend this to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And Linda, I bet if we were to ask him when all this is said and done after the Olympia, that he says he, again, probably wouldn't do it again, but he doesn't regret it, but it's got to take a toll. I got to go with what my brothers have said for all the years I've been in this game. Every one of them said it was terrible. It took a toll, and it was very difficult to get ready for the Olympia. So,
yeah, absolutely. 100%. I agree with you. It takes a toll on you.
I know. I mean, you had pretty much almost eight straight in your run, but did you have other shows that you ever considered during that time?
No. I did not. No, I mean, I feel like I remember considering the Arnold, Miss International, but it was the thing I had Corey Everson and those ladies before me, and they did not. So I had a pass. I had a pass. So, and that was the thing when I saw Iris Kyle come along, and she would consistently compete in Olympia, compete in the Arnold, compete in the Olympia. And I'm looking at this lady going, what the heck? That was just, to me, a lot, and I personally thought it was a lot, especially for a woman, to put her body and it's not even so much her body, because with Iris and with us, when you train and you maintain like a good weight, it can be done. But I think it's just so hard on our face. You guys, it's hard on our face.
Well, sure. And you've been on record many years saying as such, keeping it real, But the hardest thing about the Arnold Olympia back and forth is they're almost perfectly 6 months apart.
Mhm.
So you've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, boom, October here at the Olympia. And then it's pretty much the same thing. So you never really get a chance to rest,
Mhm.
take your foot off the gas, all that stuff that goes with keeping your body fresh and in terms of your receptors, how your body responds.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about, the receptors. Absolutely.
Listen, it's something that's not talked about a lot, but listen,
Mhm.
you can get receptor burnout or receptor downgrade. And when we're talking receptors, it's not everything's always talking about drugs. It's not the drugs.
It's
It's
not the
actually
drugs.
it's the diet that'll kill you more than anything.
Yeah. Because that's why when I returned to the stage, so I won my 6, lost twice to Iris, lost twice initially in my attempt to try to get that 7th win, and then in my attempt to try to do it again, placing second to her. I took that time off, but I still continued to train, still kept, somewhat of a clean diet. And when I came back in 2002, that's why my physique was just so phenomenal, so different, because I had so much rest and time from supplements, from that extreme diet. My body was like boom, and it received that. So that was my thought when I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at what Derek's doing. I'm like, I know he can pull it off.
Did you think, were you always coming back, or did you at any point did you think like, all right, I think I'm good here? So was it a controlled rest period, or did you just kind of say, all right, I think I'm good for a while?
Yeah, you mean when I took that break?
Yeah.
Listen. It was too hard to catch her. I was behind the game, so I was forced to take a break.
Okay.
What's up, Derek?
We got Derek
finally.
He is joining us. He was just finishing a leg session.
You need bigger legs. That's it.
Yeah.
He just finished his squats and he was coming in. We want to welcome the 2023 Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford. He now has the title of also Arnold Classic champion. He is Mr. USA's. He's pursuing the title of Pittsburgh Pro champion, but he can never be Mr. Indiana, and that's for sure.
And that's the one title that I don't have. I did the Midwest Battle of Champions in 2016. It was the first year they had it, which ended up being the Indy Pro show that we had. So I won the very first Midwest Battle of Champions, but I did not ever get the Mr. Indiana title. So for all the NPC competitors out there, compete at your state show, compete as much as you can, because once you turn pro, that's it. You can't go back.
You know what's funny, Derek, is I never won my state championship either. So in my neck of the woods, the New York State Championships, Mr. New York State, as it would be, that was the show to win. Like everybody, that's the title. It was a rite of passage. Yeah. And what happened was I went from the teenage days into the men's, and I ended up winning the junior nationals in '87, so I leapfrogged the New York State show, and then I was never able to go back. After that, it was off to the nationals. Never won the New York State.
Hey, the junior nationals is a good show, though. I really enjoyed that. I did that for 2 years.
I won the junior nationals.
Yeah.
Well, you won everything. I mean, let's just face it. I mean,
yeah. I wish we could get these athletes. That was a good thing you said, Derek, because the competitors today, they just want to immediately go from, they'll do their local show just to qualify to compete at the nationals. And then they're like, oh, I'm too good for Indiana or for the Michigan State title. I want to win the junior nationals. I want to turn pro. And they throw their state title under the bus. I'm like, what the heck is going on, guys? Do you not understand?
Every title means something to me. The junior national, my very first win, Indy Pro. It means a lot to me. And then, the Midwest Battle of Champions, the junior nationals, Mr. USA for sure. Yeah. So, compete, because once you turn pro, that's it. You're no more an amateur. So,
Derek,
and also too, another thing too is that a lot of people say, oh, Derek just competes in Olympia. Hey, don't forget, whenever I first started, I competed 2-3 times a year every year. So first couple years.
Yeah. Derek, I want to go straight to the most controversial topic in America right now.
What,
And
Bob?
no, guys, it's not Tim Wilkins or Sam Sulek. Man, I've been getting text messages from all over the world. I had no idea Tim Wilkins and Sam Sulek were that popular.
Let's not talk about that garbage, Tara. Come on, let's move on.
Let's not talk about that. Well, I'm wondering if I can do an Olympia battle: Bob Cicherillo versus Nick Walker, and Sam Sulek versus Tim Wilkins.
You know what? That could be a good battle royal, but let's keep things real here, brother. I'm way too pretty for these guys. They don't want no part of this. Think it through, guys.
Actually, when I mentioned this to somebody today, that I was going to bring Bob Cicherillo and Tim Wilkins for an Olympia battle, and they said, Tarek, Cialis will surely sponsor you.
Now I'm gonna tell you, I would definitely buy tickets if you guys planning on stepping on stage under the bright lights. I would love to see what Bob looks like. Let me see. Put the bright lights on. Let me see.
Let me correct you, Tarek. It's not Cialis. It's Celsius.
Celsius.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's my Brazilian accent. I'm sorry. Derek, you won the 2023 Mr. Olympia. You're on top of the world. You're the best bodybuilder in the world. The world loves you. You can't walk on the streets of Florida. People want to buy you a cheesecake. And then you go to the 2024 Mr. Olympia and you have a disappointing third place. And then people just reversed 100% and they're saying, oh, he's done. He's done. I saw it on the internet, people saying Derek is done. And I was like, what do you mean he's done? Should I call him right now, see if he's okay?
No.
And then you go to the Arnold and you beat the current Mr. Olympia. Tell us about this hurricane of emotions. You're the best bodybuilder in the world, and then 2 weeks later, people are saying you're done.
Well, this has been kind of the story of my career since I started as an amateur all the way up through the 212 and now in the open. So, I've had meteoric rise, success, and then I've had like a big kick in the stomach, setback time and time again. And Tarek, you've seen it over the years where that's happened. And every time, I seem to bounce back. And that's what I wanted to let the world know by doing the Arnold and doing the Pittsburgh and coming back this year for the Olympia title, is that it's about the resilience. The resilience is what matters. Is just keep moving forward, stay in your lane, have your eyes are set on that goal, on that mission that you have for yourself, and block out what everybody else is saying, because you are staying steadfast in your journey. And so, it's kind of what I was trying to get across after I won the Arnold was I was, trying to let everybody know, like, hey, I'm human just like everybody else is. And we all get knocked down and we all have a little bit of doubt in us. And whether that's doubt that we put on ourselves or other people doubt us, either way that we get knocked down, but you can keep moving forward, stay resilient, and just keep after that, because, you're not done until you say you're done.
Yeah. What was the hardest? Going into the 2024 Olympia, defending your title, or going into the Arnold? What was the most challenging? Because I would think, I know what I'm thinking, but go ahead.
There's challenges to both, right? But I'll tell you this, I'm not afraid to fail anymore. And that's the beauty in all of this, is that by getting knocked down, by losing my Olympia title, placing third in 2024, I felt like was the worst thing that could have happened to me has already happened. So you know what? I'm going all in. I'm going for it this time. So that's why I said, you know what? I'm going to do the Arnold. I'm going to do Pittsburgh. I'm going to do the Olympia. And I want to be the first Pittsburgh Pro champion, and I want to win this triple crown, is what I like to call it. I want to win the triple crown of the three biggest shows of the year. And that's never been done, And so that's what excites me now, is that I want to do something that nobody's ever done. People say, oh, you shouldn't do it. Whether it's, legendary bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia champions that came before me, or whether it be fans, or whether it be whoever says, don't do it, just wait to the Olympia, just rest. No, I want to do something that people don't think can be done, or, oh, you shouldn't do it. No, I want to go big. I want to go all in, because you know what? I'm not afraid to fail. And I believe in myself that I can do it, and I will do it. If there's anybody that can do it, it's going to be me, because of the resilience. And again, not being afraid to fail and going all in. So I tell you what, yeah, there's a little bit of feeling like your back is against the wall going into the Arnold after coming off the Olympia. But like I said, there was like some freedom in it, because I already felt like the worst thing that could have happened. And I'm not, I'm just going big now, from now on, forever.
Well, Derek, there's a lot of speculation out there after your Arnold victory that might have been the best Derek Lunsford we've ever seen on stage, even eclipsing your Olympia victory. Your thoughts on where that ranks in terms of your overall appearance on a stage as a pro?
Totally. I totally think it was my best. I'll tell you what, I'll give it to Samson and Andrew as well. I think that was their best as well. And so let's not discredit those guys. I don't think that they came in off. I think that they were actually improved. So I think we all improved. I think that was definitely my best. And I want to continue to build on that. It's not something I go, okay, let's replicate this for Pittsburgh. No. I want to come back better every time. So my focus is like not to get derailed. Oh, he won. Now he's good enough. No. I got to keep getting better. I want to be better for Pittsburgh. I want to be exceptionally better for the Olympia. So we got time to do that. And I think by me competing, it's keeping me locked in and focused on a meal plan and being able to just train hard every day. And I only have a short window to make improvements before I have to step on stage again against these next line of competitors who are incredible as well. So I'm very excited. I'm very ambitious. This is all the stars seem to be aligning, whether it be, me working with Chris Aceto or have my training partner, Matt Grego. First and foremost, my wife and daughter, who is the biggest motivation and support in my life. If it wasn't for my wife supporting me so much, that I wouldn't be where I am and have showed up the way I did at the Arnold. So she's in full support of me doing this. And so with all that, with the fans, the excitement, and just bodybuilding in general, the whole bodybuilding community, all the fans and everything, this is one of the best times in bodybuilding history because of all the great competitors and the excitement and what everybody's wanting to do, like Samson going from being the champion to the Arnold and, putting his title on the line. That's exciting. Me coming and doing what I did and then showing up at the Pittsburgh with the next group of guys. Like, this is just an exciting time for bodybuilding. And I think it's just special. And I'm proud to be a part of it. And like I said, I'm going all in, and I expect nothing less than being my best and coming out victorious.
Well, Derek, if you win, you won the Arnold. If you win Pittsburgh and you win the Olympia, you are going to have $1.2 million in prize money.
Mm-hmm.
That is possibly, correct me if I'm wrong here, Bob, Linda, that is the highest amount of money a bodybuilder has ever made in 1 year in prize money. Is that correct, Bob?
That's absolutely correct. Keep in mind when Ronnie, although if we go back, keep in mind now the Olympia wasn't anywhere near the prize money it is now. When Ronnie went in the Arnold, it did include that big old Hummer that they had out there. But actual prize money, yeah, Derek is by far would be the most successful in history. But Derek, I got to ask though, because you mentioned obviously you've got the part of the Triple Crowner, you've got the Arnold. Talking about Pittsburgh, obviously you'll be at the Olympia to try to get that title back. But you haven't mentioned New York at all, which has got to be tantalizing there. Let's just assume you win.
Bob,
I'm not going to win New York.
Are you, Bob? Is your goal to make the life of Nick Walker hell? Is that your goal?
Oh,
listen,
is that your goal?
Just remember, Derek. Listen, hell begins with an H. Okay, I just want to point that out. But I do have to say, Derek, it has to be. It's right there on a silver platter. You'd be in a no-lose situation. But why not drive over to New York and pick up a title, a ring, and another paycheck in your pocket at that point?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest, too much. I mean, well, actually, I take that back. I have thought about it. Of course, the New York Pro is right there. So it's just you have to take things one step at a time. Again, I knew that I wanted to do the Arnold. I wanted to do Pittsburgh. I wanted to do Olympia. But whenever I was thinking about the Arnold, I wasn't thinking about Pittsburgh.
Right.
Thinking about Pittsburgh, I'm not thinking about the Olympia, right? So I just want to take things one step at a time. I'll tell you this. Whether I'm competing in New York or not, I'll be there. So if I'm not competing, I'm going to show up and I'll be there and I'll support the show for sure. But either way, I want to focus on Pittsburgh. This is number one. I gotta go up against the stacked lineup. We got Nick, Martin, Goodvito, Crizzo, William Bonac. Forgive me for missing some other names, but that's a lineup. That's a lineup right there. And so I got to focus on this show. I can't focus on the week after,
No, I understand. Now, Derek, if you had a disappointing Mr. Olympia, you placed third. And then if that wasn't enough, some podcasts, they started saying that Martin Fitzwater could have been third, right? They said, hey, listen, maybe he would have beaten Derek in this pose and that pose. Is there a little bit of it's about time for me to just shut the door on Martin in Pittsburgh?
Let me ask you something, Tarek. Was it the same podcast that sponsors him?
I don't know, Bob. I don't know. Bob, do you have that information?
I do have some. I will be fair, of course, because we always are, and we do keep it real. There were people at the Olympia who did give Martin a nod in certain instances of, that could have gone either way. I have heard that. Now, I thought it was pretty solid that you were third. I mean, it was not your best. I think, obviously, you even admitted that, of course. But Sampson came on point. Hadi is always difficult because he's so consistent. Had you shown up there like the Arnold, obviously, shape, we got a different result possibly. But I have had fans and even some judges that I've talked to that said it was close. Now, Martin has made up a lot of ground, but you can slam the door on him in Pittsburgh here and shut up everybody.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is you versus you. So I'm in the gym. I'm on my diet. I'm doing all the things I need to do to be my best. And when Arnold Schwarzenegger asked me, what's your measurements? I said, good enough to win this show. It's all that matters.
Great answer, by the way.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is a bodybuilding show, and I'm gonna come in with playing to my strengths and doing all I can to improve. So, I mean, look, as a competitor, as a Mr. Olympia champion, I want these guys to be better. I want them to be on and at their best, and I want to beat the best version of them. So, I think if I'm on, like I said before, going into the Arnold, I believe, as humble as I can say, I believe that my best is the best right now in bodybuilding.
Well, I judged the Mr. Olympia, and I had a fierce battle between Hadi Chupin, Samson Dauda, and Derek Lunsford. I had Martin in fourth, and I think Martin is a wonderful bodybuilder. I think in New York, he was very close to Nick Walker. I think that was a very close battle. I still gave the edge to Nick Walker, but I did not feel that at the Mr. Olympia, he was at the level of Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupin, and Samson Dauda. I think there was a significant gap there. I'm one of the judges that I'll tell you, no, I had Martin in fourth. And I think there was a little bit of a gap between him and the top three guys.
That's a significant gap for sure. He doesn't have the muscle, the maturity, and he doesn't.
Yeah, well, 1.2 million is a lot of money, Derek. If you make that money, I hope you buy your wife a nice Rolls Royce or something really nice. I know your wife, when you're doing your first Olympia, she was there at the Orleans Arena, and I kept looking at this woman, and I said, somebody called the paramedics to this woman because she might not make it. She's more stressed than her husband who's competing. Mm-hmm. She was yelling, Derek, Derek, Derek. And I went on to talk to her. She goes, Tarek, I've been yelling like this since his wrestling years. Mm-hmm. You know,
but does the money? I bet you it did not matter at that Olympia. When you placed third, you probably didn't even think about it until you deposited the third place check, right?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Because it's about that title.
Let me be honest, Linda.
Be honest.
I don't think about the money going into a show. Like I wasn't thinking, I want to win 500 at the Arnold. I want to win this at the Olympia. I don't think about that. I think about I want to be my best because the legacy and what you present as a bodybuilder. I have a short window to do this in my career or my life. I'm sorry. But there's a short window of like 10 years that you can really be your best, right? And I want to look back when I'm done and be like, wow, I really gave it my all and presented something really exceptional. And the money is like a side effect to that, right? But
yes,
last year I got third. And then Jake Wood announced that he was up in the first and second.
Right.
I was like, you have to rub salt in the wound, don't you?
He said he did it on purpose. He said, now that Derek is on third place, I'm going to raise the money on first and second. He said he did it on purpose.
I can't lie. When I'm standing there and I'm already like in my feels, I was like, man, they just raised the prize money on first and second. This really sucks. But other than that,
you made up for it with 500 grand at the Arnold just around the corner. So good for you with that, Derek. Yeah. Who is the biggest threat?
I'm so sorry. I just want to give a recognition here to a lot of the people that are here. Isabel Terrell, Fit Rock Star, keep making history. Isabel is one of the best in the industry. I got the mayor of bodybuilding from New York. Guys, if you don't know the mayor of bodybuilding, about 10, 15 years, maybe 15, 20 years ago, there was a forum by Muscular Development. All of us were there, right, Bob? All of us were there. And the mayor of bodybuilder, he was the man there. I love him. He's one of the best guys. We got here Milo Sarcev, best friend, Xavius from Desktop Bodybuilding. He's got one of the best channel. I suggest you guys subscribe to him. We got here Bauchi Carrillo's best friend, Matt from Muscle Discord. He's here. I like Matt. He's a nice guy. I know Bob and him. You guys used to be boyfriends and like you went to his podcast. You guys were best friends. Now you're not going there anymore, Bob.
He's an idiot.
Be consistent, Bob. Okay? If you're gonna go there one time, you gotta go there the second time, or don't go at all. I'm on your side here, Matt.
I had to rule it out as garbage time. I won't be back on this board.
No, that's a nice guy. But
so,
Derek,
all right, we got accolades out of the way. Derek, who is the biggest challenger? Don't give me the standard. They're all contenders and all that stuff. Is the biggest challenger you think, in your opinion, going to come from Nick or Martin?
Are you talking about Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, of course.
Man, that's tough, man. Because like you want to mention Nick and Martin, but like I said, there's a whole list of other guys.
I know. Again, I get the standard replies of it, but the favorites clearly are you top three, and I got to put Good Vito in there because he's made a whole lot of progress.
That guy looks like a freak.
Listen, he's very comparable in terms of his shape, size, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to throw him out, again, in terms of could anything happen, of course. But for all of us playing the game at home, it's you versus Nick versus Martin. Now, the reason I bring this up is Martin arguably could have won New York last year. Everybody had their picks, but it was very close. The general consensus is could have gone either way. That means it was that close. Nick, off-season, 300-plus pounds, has more muscle than anybody on the earth. And what he brings to the table is that mixed with conditioning. Martin has said he's put on 20 pounds this past season, which is going to be a net result of probably, I don't know, let's just say 4 or 5 pounds of pure muscle, which is really good for 1 year and on stage. And he was very formidable. And again, only one place away from you. So who's the biggest threat in your opinion?
Man, I want to give you just a straight answer, but I can't because like what you said is like, well, like what you just said is you got apples and oranges. You got Nick, who's the mutant, right? So he's not the pretty bodybuilder, but he's a freak. And he comes in, conditioned and just rock hard. So you got that. But there's some gaps in his physique that I see that I can expose. And then you got Martin, who, like Linda said, he's a couple years younger than me, muscle maturity, the size and proportions. And of course, like the back shots, that I have are superior. So, it's hard to say which guy, because you got Martin, who's a little bit more aesthetic, but not as big. and then you have Nick, who's again a freak. So I think it's just going to come down to who nails it that day. Because like you said, last year at New York, it was close, man. And some people had Martin winning, some people had Nick winning. So it's going to be a close battle with those guys for sure.
Why can't either of those guys beat you?
Like I said, with all due respect and as humble as I can say it, I truly believe that my best when I'm on, my best is the best in the world. I have the balance, the conditioning, the proportions, the polish from top to bottom, side to side, front to back. So I know that there was a huge emphasis on being very complete and conditioned and aesthetic. And I believe I check more of those boxes for the judging criteria than anybody else does. It's not just anymore that Derek just has his back shots. I think the back shots are Ronnie Coleman would say game over.
Yeah.
Yes, he would.
Those are lights out shots for me.
Somebody said here that your back is the best ever.
I appreciate that. So
that's some good company right there, buddy.
If anybody says that, it's an honor. So, I'm never going to try to put myself up against some of these greats like the Phil Heath, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Lee Haney's, Dorian Yates. It's not up for me. That's for the fans to decide what they like, and everybody's going to have their opinion. So I'm honored that anybody would ever say that. And I'm just going to keep working to make it better. But like I said, I think I have knockout shots that are like, that's Mr. Olympia right there. And then I think all around the balance from each pose, conditioning, everything is just, I check more boxes. So
Derek, I have a question for you. I thought your posing at the Arnold Classic was not only better, you actually won the posing award, but you were more confident at the Arnold than the Olympia. And you were Mr. Olympia in 2024. What happened that you became more confident on your posing and everything after you lost the Olympia title?
Well, it kind of goes along with what I told you earlier. After having setback after setback throughout my career, I hit the pinnacle and then I had another setback again. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not afraid to fail. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to put on a show. And that was my mindset going into the Arnold was, I'm not here to compete. Yes, we're competing and we're going to get judged. We're going to compete, but I'm not here to compete. These people that are sitting in the crowd or watching on the pay-per-view or whatever, these people are paying money to watch a show. I'm going to be the show. And so I'm going to go out here and I'm going to put on a show and I'm going to perform for these people. And I'm going to display the hard work that I have put in for weeks and weeks, months and months and years of my life that I've dedicated and sacrificed to this. It comes down to this moment. And this is a moment in history, not just for bodybuilding, but for myself. And I want to display this and I want to be proud of it. And I feel confident because I think that I'm on this time, whereas it wasn't my best. And I knew I was a little off, but I knew I was on and I was going to be there to put on a show and be the show. And whatever the outcome was, it's out of my control, man. Like, I'm not a judge. Tarek, you're a judge. You got a whole panel of judges. You guys are the ones that decide who first place, second place, and so on is. I'm just there to put on a show and display the physique that I've worked really hard to present. And like I said, I think about 10 years from now, whenever I'm done and I've done all that I could to build my best physique and present it. I want to look back and be like, wow, I was really proud of that. And I don't want to come in timid and shy and I just want to hide my flaw. No. I want to come out there and I want to display what I worked really hard for.
Yeah. Your mandatory posing was on point. It was superb. And I think it was superb. It was. You were on point. Everything was very calculated. You knew, like when you turn to the rear, you take your time and you point like to tell us, look right here. Look here.
Well, 4 weeks out, I want to give a shout out to Steve Weinberger because 4 weeks out, there was Jay Cutler and Steve. They put on the workshop, NPC workshops that we have all over the country. That the different judges, the NPC judges put on, IBB Pro judges put on, wherever. But they had one like 4 weeks out up at Steve's gym, Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym. And I was going to go up there anyway, and it just kind of aligned that we did that. And I had, Steve kind of critique some of my posing a little bit, but he does that for anybody. And that's why I wanted to mention him, is because anybody that comes up there, whether you're Derek Lunsford, Samson Dowda, or whoever, or whether you're a first-time NPC competitor, he's going to give you the time of day, and he's going to help you be your best. And he even told me, he's like, I'm gonna critique you, and I'm gonna tell you what I think, but at the end of the day, you have to present what you think is the best. And so if you think what I'm telling you isn't what's best, then you display however you want to display it. But I'm just going to tell you what I think. And so when I went up there was some small tweaks that he had made in my posing that definitely helped. And prior to that, I want to also mention Chris Cormier too, because he came out before that, like I think 6-8 weeks out, he came out, and we had started working on my posing. So Chris initiated the posing with me, and then I went up there with Steve, and getting feedback from the judges, whether it be Steve or Tyler or Tarek or anyone, I think is super beneficial to competitors, because at the end of the day, these are the ones that are judging you. And if your posing is a little off, and they're like, no, you could have been so much better if you would have just done this a little different in this pose, I think can go really far. So
Derek,
that's great. That's great that Steve has this, humility to say, I'm going to tell you what I think, right, is better. But in the end of the day, Steve is a master of the craft. I'm not quite sure about Chris Cormier, but if you want to give him a compliment to him, that's fine.
Well, I have to say, he came out, he gave me his time of day, and we did start doing a lot more posing with him. But then I think that what really helped me be more confident in my posing, and I could see it in my updates and my pictures I would send to Chris Aceto, was after I had posed with Steve.
Well, I want to go into that. So sorry, Bob. Bob Ciccarello and Sean Ray, they had the Voice of Bodybuilding podcast, which now I want it to be the most controversial podcast, but now Bob has surpassed that. Bob, you've beaten me with the most controversial. Guys, subscribe to the Voice of Bodybuilding if you want to see all the controversies and Bob talking bad about people. But in their podcast, Bob and Sean Ray, they said, Derek does not need a trainer. Derek does not need this, does not need that. You go in there with Chris Aceto and you win the show. I go to Chris Aceto and Chris said, Tarek, he's a champion. We were able to contribute together. If I train Bob Ciccarello and Sean Ray, they both be better athletes. What do you have to say about working with Chris Aceto?
Chris is great, man. I tell you what, his methods are similar but different than what I'm used to. Meaning, like, it wasn't like reinventing the wheel with with my meal plan or anything like that. The biggest thing was like just alleviating stress, I think, and making it more fun for me again. And so that's what I really enjoyed, and just trusting that like he knows what he's doing, and he has a great eye for like, okay, you need to have this now, you need to eat this now, or we need to pull back or push a little more. So just trusting in him, knowing that he's produced great, not just producing great champions, but think about this. Chris Aceto has had the top of the line champions at all ages, weight classes, divisions. He's taken guys like my friend Matt Grego, who's competing in Detroit this weekend. Shout out Matt Grego. I think he's going to do very, very well. He plays third at the Arnold. He took him from a good, men's physique guy to, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, classic guy in the world right now. Like,
he's insane. Matt Grego is insane.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, Chris has worked a lot of different types of bodies and people and ages and divisions that I'm like, wow, like I think we can do a lot together. So the trust in your coach is very important. His track record experience. I just felt, and also too, I thought it was pretty cool to go. I want to do a reverse 09 Jay Cutler going from Hani to a
right.
Go to Hani. So I thought that was pretty cool because Jay inspired me from the beginning as well. So yeah, I think the fact that he alleviated the stress for me and it was just made it fun and all that was a big thing because he definitely knows what he's doing. He does. He does.
I mean, the results, nobody, I was very categorically about this. I said, listen, Bob Ciccarello and Sean Ray can say whatever they want. And we live in America, it's freedom of speech. If they want to say that Derek can go on his own and win the show, it's their opinion. And I love Chris. I think Chris Aceto is one of the best coaches in the history of bodybuilding. But I don't think Chris should have been upset. I think Chris should have said, it's their opinion, I'm going to move on. But the bottom line is the results don't lie. And the result is we've seen the best of Derek Lunsford. We got to give credit to Chris Cormier's posing. We got to give credit to Chris Aceto. And we got to give credit to Derek Lunsford for coming in and just delivering a powerful performance.
And Fabricio from Brazil.
Another great trainer, Pacholaki from Brazil.
Him and Ramon came up to train with me before the Arnold. So having those guys, Ramon Dino and Pacho coming up to train with me was another was very important for me, to keep my head right, train hard, push, and also be able to pull back in the training. So I want to shout out to Pacho as well.
All right, so let me break this down for you, Derek. So
look, Bob is quiet right now. Derek, you're here, the fans. Bob is quiet right now.
Concerning the trainers, and again, listen, all due respect to Chris Aceto, Hani Rambot, again, any of the trainers, they all lend something to working with their clients. That said, Aceto has been very successful in his career. He's also had some bombs out there of people that didn't do particularly well or fell off the edge. So that said, they all have their good and bad, and that's not against Chris. Again, that's everybody. Everybody that's been out there has been in the same boat. The fact that Derek was able to win with a second trainer can bolster either argument, because now you can sit there and go, well, see, there you go. So he won with one trainer, he won with another trainer. If Linda trained him, he might win. Derek, even if you train him, he might win an Olympia.
No.
So again, we got to keep things real when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like any sport. You take baseball, right? You take a manager, whoever it might be, and they have a run, or football. You got like an Andy Reid, who runs his course in one team, starts bombing out, goes to another team, and boom, he's back in the Super Bowl consecutive years. So sometimes you just need a little change, or a little, something like Derek says. Chris gives him a sense of calmness, he doesn't have to worry about things, and he followed it, and good for him. So
it depends on who you're working with. You know what I mean? Because,
right.
I mean, if you're working with Tom Brady can go from New England and go to Tampa because he's focused and consistent. And one thing that I see with Derek, he checks off all the boxes. What I mean?
To be fair, Tom Brady could train Derek, and he's going to have a real good shot at winning Pittsburgh. Let's get that out of the way. But my question for you, Derek, is this. I want you to assess Derek versus Derek, because like Linda said, you were very confident at the Arnold. You could see it in your face. You knew you were 100% or damn close to it, and you could see it. You were just radiating on stage, that you just had that look that this is my show. Nobody's beat me, not Samson, not nobody. Yeah. That's the difference. At the Olympia, you didn't have that same look. You knew you were off a little bit. But I want to know from you the difference between Derek versus Derek, physique-wise, Olympia versus the Arnold.
Oh, way better, way more polished, bigger, fuller, more polished.
So were you flat at the Olympia? Like, how would you categorize your physique at the Olympia?
I was very flat at the Olympia, very flat. Yeah. I mean, I think that I definitely improved in terms of I continued to train, and I worked hard in the gym, and, sticking to the diet from the Olympia to the Arnold. So I'm sure I made solid improvements, but I think the fact that I was so flat and just off at the Olympia, that's why I knew, like, going into the Arnold, I was like, no. This was not supposed to happen at the Olympia. Like, my best would have won, in my belief. That was what I had to tell myself and believe in myself. And I still believe that to today. That's why I said, I believe my best is the best. So going in the Arnold, I said, okay, if we can correct some of this stuff, I can make improvements from the Olympia to the Arnold in terms of, like, adding muscle tissue and all this other stuff, and then come in and actually peak properly. Yeah, I see myself winning, even though everybody else counted me out, and that's okay. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what I think about myself.
Not me. I said you were
Hey,
right again.
you did say that. You can go back onto my YouTube and watch that
Yeah.
one.
So
Derek,
let me hang on. Let me break it down just one more, just to get, because people always want specifics because they don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, you were flat. Why were you flat? Would you say it was water, dehydration related, didn't carb up enough, too much cardio? Like where do you think that
Water.
went south?
Water, sodium, and food.
Oh.
And I think that the cardio and the training were too intense going into. So I think that the training and the cardio could have been fine had the water, food, and sodium been better for the peak. I think that was what really did me in at the end.
Gotcha.
But I also could have backed off the cardio and maybe a little bit of the training as well.
So to break this down for those watching at home, for competitors, if you get yourself in a position, there's kind of a point of no return is what we call it, where your metabolism is going so fast at the end because you didn't back off, that all your carbohydrate loading techniques, it's like putting gas on a fire. And if anything, your metabolism just gets even more, and it's like you can't catch up.
Right.
Yeah, but as soon as he came in at the Arnold, we're like, wow, this is a completely different guy, But Derek, everything was different. The physique was different. The posing was different. And even when you knew, when they announced Samson Dauda second, and you're right there at right stage, the celebration was different. You were subdued. It wasn't that crazy celebration when you won the Olympia. There was something different about what you were thinking and feeling, because it wasn't a celebration. What was going on? What was explain to me why that celebration was so subdued?
Because it just solidified that what I believed going into the show was true. But I'm still on a mission. It's not over with. It's not done. I have more to give and I have more to prove. This year, Pittsburgh and Olympia for sure. Olympia is the big one, right? Pittsburgh, Olympia is the big one. So again, what I believe was true about myself and the outcome happened. Great, but we got more to prove. We got more to do. It's not over with yet. So that was my mindset. Plus, it's not just about this year either. I got a few more years in me here to keep improving.
No, Derek. I read on the internet a few months ago, you're done. It's over. It's over for you, Derek. It's over. You're 69 years old. You got injuries. It's over for you.
Those people probably should not go to Vegas and gamble then.
Yeah.
Probably stay home.
Well, listen, I have heard through other podcasters, which will remain nameless, that this was a huge mistake, Derek, you going into Pittsburgh. You got no business. It's stupid. This is a bad move. And all I could think of is, no, this is a great move. It was a great move for you to go in the Arnold. It's a great move to go into Pittsburgh. Like, should you win it and decide to do New York the next week and put a few more dollars in your pocket, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Take a break and get ready for the Olympia. But no, listen, I think this is a great blueprint because we're often critical to bodybuilders these days for not picking the right shows or the right strategy. And I think you're dead on.
Yeah, it depends on who you are, right? I think it depends on this and your health, right? And so, like I said, like right now, all the stars are aligning. I'm super ambitious. I have lofty goals. My mind is right. I'm focused. I have the support of my wife and the people around me. I'm healthy. I feel good. And this is the first year the Pittsburgh Pro is having an open show. So, hey, let's go be the first Triple Crown winner.
And Derek, you said you're healthy, and that's a great thing. I want to focus on that. How often do you do blood work?
Just got it done this morning. Shout out Merrick Health.
Okay, so you check your blood work, and then you verify everything is healthy. A lot of young competitors, they don't do blood work as often as they should. Yeah. As a Mr. Olympia, as an Arnold Classic champion, as a former Mr. USA's. Tell us a little bit about how you take care of your health, how you train to prevent injuries. I want you to kind of give a guideline to all the competitors that don't have your experience, how you take care of your health.
Well, I think you should be checking your blood work regularly, regardless of if you're competing or not. I think everybody should be checking their health all the time, getting their blood work done, checking in with their doctors, specialists, whatever. Um, let's say you're competing 1, 2, 3 times a year, at least quarterly. At least quarterly, every 3 to 4 months, you should be checking your blood work. At the bare minimum, I would say twice a year, every 6 months. And then I would say that making sure that you align it like before your competition at like we're 6 weeks out. So, coming off of the last show, give myself a couple weeks after the show. Okay, right before we go into this intense prep, do the blood work again, see where we're at, and then do the same thing following the Pittsburgh Pro. Give it a few weeks, let the body rest up a little bit, get your blood work done again, see where you're at. And then before the Olympia prep, I'll do that at least one more time before the Olympia prep. So that's kind of how I would structure blood work for sure. And if you want to do it any more than that, great. The more you do it, the better. As far as other therapies and stuff, I get massage therapy done at least once a week. Actually, twice a week, I get massage work done, which is super important. And any other type of like health checkups, like, I'm looking into going to like a cardiologist to make sure that, cardio function is good. Also with my blood work this morning, we did like a kidney function kidney function test. And you can do like liver tests and stuff like that too. So just as much as you are putting into your training and your bodybuilding, you should be putting into your health too. So, and also too, like gut health is super important. And also too, let's not forget about mental health. If you're somebody that, is struggling up here, you need to make sure that you're seeking the right help. Obviously for me, I always talk about my faith. That's number one. Christ is king. And I believe that, he is the answer to our peace. If you want peace, he will, he's the answer. So, but if you want also like some medical professional help, I would say seek that out. And also too, just simply the people you have in your life, right? Like I have an amazing wife, amazing friends that also can keep me grounded and in check here too. So, the physical health, mental health is super important to obviously be your best as a professional bodybuilder, professional athlete, but just anybody in general. You should be putting your health, mental and physical health at the forefront of everything.
Absolutely. Guys, I want to make this very clear. We're going to bring the top competitors in the world. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about mental health. A lot of these competitors, they're under a lot of pressure to succeed. And sometimes it gets tough. I remember when it was tough for Derek Lunsford, and he was in a moment that it was not good for his mental health, and he was able to seek help. He's very close to his religion. He's very close to God, and that strengthens him. And people can be from different religions, and he's very close to his family. If you're a competitor, always remember you have friends, you have people around you that are there to help you. And we're also talking about health. We're talking about doing your blood work. We're talking about exercising with caution. We're talking about being hydrated. I'm a judge at the Mr. Olympia. I go backstage and I see Derek drinking water. I see Samson drinking water. None of them are cutting the water completely right. They're still drinking a little bit of water, limiting the water because they don't want to go into the stage with a full, belly, but they're still drinking water. Nobody's doing something that's reckless, that's going to compromise their health. Just like in football, when they teach you not to tackle with your head, right? Same thing with bodybuilding, same thing with all the sports. We always teach you guys to be healthy. Linda, Bob?
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure that in the off season that you watch as far as your nutrition. If you're trying to play catch up and you just think you can just eat any old thing, and now you're trying to do all the extra cardio, trying to use something, a diuretic or whatever, you can't. That's not balance. That doesn't work, and that gets a lot of the amateurs in trouble, because as professionals, we know that we're professional. I need to set an example in the off season as I do when I'm on stage. And you see some of these athletes and they're trying to play catch up, or they're trying to just look good to be at the Arnold, and you can't fix things with overnight. You just absolutely can't.
Great. Bob, go ahead.
Derek, congratulations in advance. Whether you win, lose, or draw, I got a sneaky suspicion this is going to be your time to shine once again, my friend. But what I give you congratulations for is being as smart a bodybuilder in the business of bodybuilding as you are on stage as a bodybuilder. Thinking outside the box, not listening to outside influence, doing your own thing, and listening to your body. Like I said, you're in a good spot mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Go for it, brother.
Thank you.
Derek, we're huge fans of yours. I remember when you were an amateur and you were in line to get checked at the USA's, a title that you won in 2017, and Bob won in 2000. Bob thinks he's the greatest USA champion. That's fine. We'll let him think that. Yeah.
Put a side by side up with me and Bob.
Are you saying I'm not?
But Derek, you're a great role model for bodybuilding. I was just talking today with competitors, and they're like, Derek looks healthy on stage. He looks glowing. You know, he has a full head of hair. His skin looks great. Everything looks great about Derek Lunsford on stage. He doesn't look like he's struggling there, you know. So I like that you're a great representation for the sport. I also am a huge fan that you're close to your faith. I think sometimes people mention to me, well, you need to keep separated. I said, no. Sometimes people want to keep it very close because it's good for them. So I'm very proud of you. You're a father. You're a husband. You have a beautiful wife, a beautiful daughter, and you have some of the biggest titles in bodybuilding. You are Mr. Olympia. You won the Arnold. You have Mr. USA's. I want you to send a message to all your fans, because I know you got lots of fans. And some of those fans, they never abandoned you, right? Even when you took third place, they went in there and they wrote messages to you. What is your message to all those people, fans that sometimes are in Brazil, in India, in Pakistan, whatever they are, that they send a message to you saying, Derek, I still believe you?
You know what, Tarek? Out of all the questions you could ask me, this is the one that I always feel put on the spot. I'm like, I need to say something really special here. But I'll tell you what, from the bottom of my heart, I really mean it. You know, you're right. There were a lot of people who may have doubted me, but there were a ton of people who always believed in me and always supported me. And I'll tell you what, whenever I go to these events, whether it be at the Arnold or FIBO, which is coming up, I'll be at FIBO, going to Brazil in July, you know, wherever I go to these events, I always feel like I have the most wholesome, down-to-earth, genuine like supporters, right? The people that are like just the most down-to-earth, nicest, kindest people that come up, and it just reminds me, like, I might see some comments online, oh, he's done, he's never gonna win, you know, whatever negative comment. And as a human being, after you see that time and time again, it might just get you just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it totally consumes me, but there's times where you think to yourself, man, why are there so many people saying such negative things? I feel like I'm not really that bad of a guy, and I don't think I'm that bad of a bodybuilder neither. But then when I go to these events, or I do see some of these comments, or I have people that even write me letters sometimes, and I'll read them, and they'll tell me how, you know, like, whatever it was, whether it be a YouTube video or my story or whatever, led them to God or led them back to the gym or got them out of you know, a challenging time, a struggle they were dealing with. You know, that's what makes it also worth it. You know, of course I'm here. I want to get my Olympia title back. I want to, you know, like I said, be the first Triple Crown winner, winning the Arnold, Pittsburgh, and Olympia, and doing all these crazy things. And yeah, a lot of ambitious business goals, Bob. You know, we're building our gym here in Tampa at Champs Elysium. So a lot of great things that I want to do. But at the end of the day, the most important and fulfilling thing is making a positive impact on people's lives. So when I receive these messages, letters, or whatever, I have these interactions at these events, it really means the most to me, and it keeps me going and motivated to keep pushing. And it reminds me, like, why I'm really here on earth doing this, like why I was put on earth to be a bodybuilder doing this. So Thank you all so much for the support that you give me. And honestly, if you're a fan of any of my competitors, I love that too. I love the fact that you're supporting bodybuilding. If you love the men's physique division, the 212, the classic, the women's division, it doesn't matter. If you're supporting our industry, thank you, because we couldn't do it without you. And we're all trying to grow together. High tide raises all ships is something I live by and I believe in. So that means we're all elevating together because we are such a strong community. So keep the positivity going, keep uplifting others. And also too, I'll tell you what, the so-called haters, I'll be honest with you, I'm thankful for them too. Like I said, sometimes it sucks to hear the negative comments, but also, you can use that as fuel as well. So hopefully I want to
Derek, don't worry about the haters. They're all after Tim Wilkins today.
Hopefully I want a few of them over too, but nonetheless, they're supporting, bodybuilding and in our industry. So thank you.
They usually transition between Sean Ray to Bob Cicherillo on a weekly basis. But this week, Tim Wilkins said, you know what? I'm going to give a week off to Sean Ray and Bob Cicherillo. I'm just going to go in the internet and blast the Sam Sulek, who has 38 million followers. So all the haters today are after Tim Wilkins. I talked today with Tim Wilkins, and he's hiding in his pantry.
I heard it and I go, oh, what's he doing here, man?
he's hiding in his pantry, even though he's been deployed to
war. I met Sam for the first time at the Arnold before we did the seminar on Sunday. He was a real nice guy. I messaged him, congratulations on his first show. Congratulations on the IFBB Pro qualification or becoming an IFBB Pro. I think it's great. I think he is good for the sport. I think it would be great for him and beneficial to him if he did seek some guidance, and which is something I mentioned to him. I said, if you really want to be your best in the sport, I recommend that you do go with a high-level coach or somebody at least that can be in your corner, that can kind of assist you, that has come before you, that has experience and knowledge that they can share with you if you really want to be your best. And so I think that's kind of what Tim was trying to allude to, is like, hey,
yeah, and it's hard to get the attention of some of the young people.
Yeah.
But we all have mentors, right? Mentors. Yeah. Sometimes it's a great coach. Sometimes, I had a mentor, John Lindsay. John Lindsay was my mentor for many years. He taught me, promoting of bodybuilding. He taught me all kinds of stuff, and he was my mentor. And I'm glad that I had him. I'm sure Linda Murray had her mentor. Bob Cicherillo had his mentor. So I think Tim Wilkins was, in a very assertive way, saying, hey, listen, maybe you should go in a different direction and use your positive attitude. I think Sam Sulek is going to be a superstar. I think he's going to develop into a great bodybuilder, classic physique. And I also think that he's going to develop as a person as well. Mm-hmm. And he's going to positively influence a lot of people. I know he will do that. And I think we're going to look back at Tim Wilkins and say, you know what? Tim had a point here. He was trying to kind of, get things going. I love Tim Wilkins. I have not met Sam Sulek, but I'm sure he's a great guy. And in the end of the day, listen, we all root for Sam Sulek. We all root for Nick Walker. But guys like Bob Cicherillo, Tim Wilkins, Sean Ray, and I often joke, they get paid to express their opinions, right? We pay Bob Cicherillo to express his opinion. The day he becomes Nutella, that Nutella thing, you know what I mean? Bob just say, hey, everybody's beautiful and everybody's nice. He's no longer good for Olympia TV. So,
right.
So Linda Murray, she was critical of women's bodybuilding, right? About 2 years ago, she goes, Tarek, I'm not happy with the level of the competitors. I don't think they deserve to be at the Olympia stage, bringing this kind of conditioning. And a lot of the competitors, they were offended. And I said, okay, go argue with Linda Murray. She's got 8 titles in her office.
Yeah. Yes, right. See me.
But I want to thank Derek Lunsford for spending some time with us. Derek Lunsford is a phenomenal bodybuilder. He's also a great human being. Guys, Mr. USA. He won the Arnold. He's going to Pittsburgh. And he is Mr. Olympia. His name is on the Sandow. Thank you so much for joining us, Derek. You're a superstar, and you are a great role model. I want to thank Linda Murray. This woman is 8-time Miss Olympia. 8 times, guys. 8 times. One time we had dinner with Chris Bumstead, and he said, Linda, can I take a picture with you? I just want to post it. Chris Bumstead was all like starstruck by Linda Murray. And then we have here Bob Cicherillo, the voice of bodybuilding. His podcast, VOB on YouTube, is one of the greatest podcasts. He has recently surpassed Olympia TV in being the most controversial podcast in bodybuilding. I want to commend you for that, Bob. You are 2000 Mr. USA's, and you are the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia. If Derek Lunsford wins the 2025 Mr. Olympia, how is that going to sound?
It's going to sound like this. And new Pittsburgh champion, Derek Lunsford.
All right. My name is Tarek El-Guindy with Olympia TV. We're going to bring Martin Fitzwater next weekend to say what he thinks of Derek Lunsford. We'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen,